A very good day to all my dear students. So as all of you know, we have completed the first module in control engineering. The first module consisted of introductory concepts to control engineering. What is a system? What is a control system? Simple control systems, complicated control systems, the control systems used in day-to-day life, and the control systems designed by engineers for sophistication of life. All these things we studied in the first module. We had the classification of control systems, the general classification where we had natural, man-made and combinational control systems. Then we studied the control systems for analysis, the classification of control systems for analysis like time variant, time invariant, linear, non-linear, deterministic, stochastic, lumped parameter, distributed parameter, single input, single output, multi-input, multi-output control systems, open loop and closed loop control systems. So these we studied in detail with examples. Then we went into depth of open loop and closed loop control systems with their advantages, disadvantages, and the real life, real-time examples of open loop and closed loop control systems. Then we also studied the requirements of an ideal control system, what actually an ideal control system requires to operate perfectly in practice. That is, in that we studied the stability, accuracy, speed of response, sensitivity, disturbance, and bandwidth. These were the requirements of an ideal control system. That was first part of the module 1. And in the second part of the module 1, we studied the controllers. Okay, controller is the heart of a control system, and we studied the different types of controllers. That is how the control action is initiated in a control system. That is whether proportional action, proportional controllers, derivative, integral action, proportional derivative controllers, proportional integral controllers, and proportional integral and derivative, that is PID controllers. We compared them. Then we saw how individually these controllers contribute, and in combination they form a perfect controller in control systems. All this we studied in the first module, and I also dealt with the questions that can appear in the first module in VTU question papers, very general questions. What is a control system? What are the types of control systems? Then what is open loop and closed loop control systems with examples, requirements of control systems, then proportional, derivative and integral control systems, PID controllers, their characteristics, all that. So today in this video lecture, I am giving the summary of what all we have dealt in the first module. Okay, so now moving to the second module. This is the first video lecture in the second module, or I can say the first presentation in module 2. Okay, unlike module 1 was a very simple module in which only the introductory concepts of control system were dealt, and even though the module is scheduled for 10 hours, we were able to complete it in 5 hours only, because I wanted to save time for the second module. Second module is an elaborate module. So what are the contents of the second module? You'll be seeing in this slide. So as you can see, the module 2 consists of basically, I can say the module 2 basically consists of 3 chapters. I can say 3 chapters. The first chapter is modeling of physical systems, that is mathematical models of mechanical, electrical, thermal, hydraulic and pneumatic systems. And the second part of the first chapter is analogous systems, direct and inverse analogs for mechanical, thermal and fluid systems. This is the first chapter in module 2. Then module 2 also consists of another chapter or another concept, that is the block diagram algebra, in which we study the block diagrams of different control systems, then reduce the block diagrams using different rules, reduction rules, and bring it to simple form or canonical form for further analysis. And the third chapter in this module 2 is the signal flow graphs, which are the type of graphs representing control systems, and Mason's gain formula is used to solve the control problem in this. So remember, module 2, which is scheduled for 10 hours actually consists of 3 chapters: mathematical modeling of physical systems, block diagram algebra, and the signal flow graphs. Okay. So now in this particular video lecture, I will be starting with, I will be just introducing you to mathematical modeling, what is mathematical modeling and how it is realized. But before actually going to mathematical modeling, which I will be covering in the next video lecture, in this I am setting you the ground for mathematical modeling, because before going to mathematical modeling, we need to know some things about the Laplace transform. Okay, all of you have studied Laplace transform in your 4th semester, I know, but we need to brush up our memory, and I am focusing on the Laplace transform properties which are required for the study of our control engineering. Moving to the next slide. So what are the objectives of this lecture, or this video lecture, or in this module in the mathematical modeling, what all I am going to cover? In this lecture, you will go through study of mathematical models of physical systems, describe a physical system in terms of differential equations, understand the way these equations are obtained, realize the use of physical laws governing a particular system, such as Newton's law for mechanical systems, Kirchhoff's law for electrical systems, then realize that deriving mathematical model is the most important part of entire analysis of the control system. So objectives of this lecture, I mean, even though I am dealing in this lecture with only Laplace transform, the total objective of this first chapter of this module is this, that is, understand mathematical modeling. Then, while mathematical modeling using differential equations or state space representations or transfer function, we are bound by some laws, okay, some physical laws, just like Newton's law for mechanical systems, Kirchhoff's law, and for fluid systems we have a different law, for thermal systems we have different law. So in the orientation of those laws, we are going to derive the, or we are going to obtain the mathematical modeling of physical systems. Okay. Then what is mathematical model? When anything like model comes, model means it is not a difficult thing, and all the time it need not be a physical model. Mathematical model is nothing but representing a control system with the help of mathematics. Okay. So for example, a sophisticated control system, say a rocket control system. Okay, a rocket control system, that is such a complicated control system which has n number of inputs giving rise to n number of outputs, and so many thousands of parameters need to be controlled and optimized. Okay, so when all these things are to be done, it is physically impossible to analyze the control system without representing the mathematics, because everything an engineer has to validate, he has to validate with the help of mathematics. Okay, because there are laws governing in nature, there are physical laws which govern every action in nature. So keeping those laws in mind and the mathematical equations, if we are able to find a solution mathematically, that means for that control problem, we are able to find a solution physically also. So whenever there is a control system which has to be analyzed, which has to be designed, or which has to be optimized, the control engineer has to represent that control system in the form of mathematics. Okay, in the form of mathematics. Then based on that mathematical model, that is what is mathematical model. Representing a control system in the form of mathematics is mathematical model. Okay, so mathematical modeling of any control system is the first and foremost task that a control engineer has to accomplish for design and analysis of any control engineering problem. A mathematical model of dynamic system is defined as set of differential equations that represent the dynamics of the system accurately or at least fairly well. Note that a mathematical model is not unique to a system. A system may be represented in many different ways and therefore may have many mathematical models depending on one's perspective. For example, in optimal control problems, it is good to use state space representations. On the other hand, for linear time invariant single input single output systems, transfer function model is best suited. Once a mathematical model of the system is obtained, various analytical and computational techniques may be used for analysis and synthesis purposes so as to optimize the control system. Because of the systems under consideration are dynamic in nature, the equations are usually differential equations. If these equations can be linearized, then Laplace transform may be utilized to simplify the method of solution. So this is the importance of mathematical modeling in control systems. Okay. So now different mathematical models. There are different types of mathematical models with which we represent the control systems. The commonly used mathematical models are, one is the differential equation model, where the control system is represented in the form of a set of differential equations, and this is called as the time domain model. Okay. Then the transfer function model. If the control system is represented with the help of a transfer function. What is transfer function? I will be telling in the next video lecture. Okay. So this is S domain model. Okay. Then state space model. In state space model, which is also a time domain model, instead of representing with the help of set of differential equations, the control system is represented in the form of matrices. Okay. Matrices are used and the properties of matrices are used for manipulation to obtain the optimal solution. Now, the use of models depend on application. Whether you are going to use the differential equation model, the transfer function model, or the state space model depends on the application of the control system. For example, to find transient or steady state response of single input, single output, linear time invariant system, transfer function model is useful. On the other hand, for optimal control application, state space model also may be useful. Okay. That is how we can use different models for different applications. Now, before going to mathematical modeling, actual mathematical modeling, as I told, Laplace transform is very useful for us for representing the mathematical model and taking the solution out of that mathematical modeling. So the next 5-6 minutes I'll be going through Laplace transform. Okay. So basics of Laplace transform. The various methods used to solve engineering problems are based on replacement of functions of time by certain frequency dependent variables. This makes computation job very easy. The known example of such method is the use of Fourier series to solve certain electrical problems. The transformation technique relating time functions to frequency dependent functions of complex variable is called Laplace transformation technique. Okay. What is actually Laplace transformation technique is the control systems which are in time domain. For example, function of t, f of t, if they are converted into frequency domain, that is function of s, where s is a complex variable, s is equal to sigma plus j omega, where j equal to root of minus 1, then that type of transformation is called as the Laplace transformation technique. Such transformation is very useful in solving linear differential equations. The transfer function of a system, which is heart of the control system analysis, is based on Laplace transform. So, here the definition of Laplace transform, some commonly used functions and Laplace transform pairs useful properties of Laplace and inverse Laplace transform are dealt with. So today in this video lecture, I will be talking only about the Laplace transform, and in the next video lecture, I will be telling about transfer function and other mathematical modeling concepts. Okay. So now coming to this slide, what is Laplace transform? How do you do the Laplace transform? How do you convert a function from time domain to the frequency domain? Okay. The Laplace transform is defined as below. Let f of t be a real function. Let f of t be a real function of real variable t such that t is greater than 0. Okay, such that t is greater than 0. Then the Laplace transform is represented as f of s. Laplace transform of f of t is denoted as f of s, and that is written as Laplace transform of f of t, which is equal to 0 to infinity f of t, integration of 0 to infinity f of t e raised to minus st dt. Okay. So any function f of t, if you integrate that function from 0 to infinity, multiplying it by e raised to minus st, then you will get the Laplace transform of that. That means from time domain, you have shifted to frequency domain. T to s. What is s then? S is equal to, it is a complex variable given by s equal to sigma plus j omega, where sigma is the real part of the complex variable s and omega is the imaginary part of the complex variable s. Okay. So now f of t was converted to f of s. Okay, was converted to f of s. Now, if I want to convert back f of s to f of t, then I have to do what? Laplace inverse of f of s. Okay. L is Laplace. L is Laplace transform. L inverse is Laplace inverse transform. Laplace inverse transform. So this is how Laplace transform is realized. Once again, I shall repeat. This block is important for us. Laplace transform of any function f of t, where t is a real variable greater than 0, is given by f of s, which is equal to Laplace transform of f of t, which is equal to 0 to infinity f of t into e raised to minus st dt. Okay, here I would like to tell you, we are not going to do any Laplace transforms here. We are not going to solve the problems for Laplace transform. That is, we are not converting anything. Only we are making use the ready table. Okay, we already have ready table for common functions. The Laplace transform of common functions, we already have them ready. We will make use of those ready tables only. So you need not bother about how to transfer. But before that, we need to know some properties of Laplace transform. That is very important for us. There are some 7 to 8 properties. If we understand those properties, then the further things become very easy for us. Now, one more, this one about use of Laplace transform in control systems. Why they are so useful? The control system can be classified as electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, thermal, fluid system, biological system, chemical system, any system, so on. All the systems can be described by integro-differential equations of various orders, while the output of such systems for any input can be obtained by solving such integro-differential equations. Mathematically, it is very difficult to solve such equations in time domain. See here, there will be set of equations, complicated equations, many sets of higher orders. They are integro-differential equations. If you try to solve them as it is in time domain, it becomes very difficult because they are complicated equations. While as the Laplace transform of such integro-differential equations converts them into simple algebraic equations. Okay, those complicated equations, when you do the Laplace transform, they are made as simple algebraic equations in the S, okay, in S domain. All the complicated computations then can be easily performed in S domain, as the equations to be handled are algebraic in nature. Such transformed equations are known as equations in frequency domain. Then by eliminating unwanted variable, the required variable in S domain can be obtained. Then by using the technique of Laplace inverse, suppose you want to come back to time domain. After you have done all the manipulations on the equations in S domain, you want to come back to time domain. Then what you will do? You will do the Laplace inverse and time domain function for the required variable is obtained. Hence, making computations easy by converting integro-differential equations into algebraic is the main essence of Laplace transform. So, use of Laplace transform in control system is very important. Okay. So, now once you know that how Laplace transform is done, Laplace transform of any function f of t is equal to f of s, that is equal to Laplace of f of t equal to 0 to infinity f of t into e raised to minus st dt. Using that, neglecting the initial conditions where t is greater than 0. Now let me deal with some of the properties of Laplace transform. Okay, Laplace transform has some unique properties. Okay, we have to go through that properties. The first property is the property of linearity. Very simple, this one. The transform of a finite sum of time functions is the sum of Laplace transform of the individual functions. It is so simple. Okay, so let me explain it in a blank slide. See, for example, the Laplace transform of a function f1 of t plus f2 of t plus dash 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 fn of t. Okay, suppose the Laplace transform of the sums of these functions is equal to, can be written as equal to f1 of s, that is Laplace transform of f1 of t plus f2 of s plus f3 of s plus dash 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 fn of s. So this is the linearity property. It is called as the linearity. This is the linearity property which is applicable to the Laplace transform. Okay. So now coming to again the blank slide. This property gets extended like this also. Suppose the Laplace transform of a1 into f1 of s, f1 of t plus a2 into f2 of t plus dash 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 an into fn of t. Suppose the constants are attached to the individual time domain functions, then the Laplace transform of that is a1 f1s plus a2 f2s plus dash 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 an fns. It is such a simple property but very effective and very useful for us when we actually implement the Laplace transform. Remember, the Laplace transform of sum of individual time domain functions is equal to individual Laplace transform of the functions. And similarly, the Laplace transform of individual time domain functions with constants attached to them is equal to the constant into the Laplace transform of those individual functions. If you remember, this is enough. So that is the first property, that is the property of linearity. Now coming to scaling theorem. The second property is the scaling theorem. Just you can see, if k is a constant, then the Laplace transform of k into f of t is given as k times the Laplace transform of f of t. Very simple. Okay. So suppose f of t is a function, k is a constant. Then k into f of t. If you want to obtain the Laplace of k into f of t, then the Laplace of k into f of t is Laplace of k into f of t is k into f of s. Okay, k into f of s, where k is a constant. This is the scaling theorem, the second. The third is real differentiation or differentiation in time domain. This is a very important property for us. So, listen carefully. For example, if f of s is the Laplace transform of f of t, okay, f of t is a time domain function and f of s is the Laplace transform of that, then the Laplace transform of the differentiation of f of t by dt is equal to s into Laplace transform of f of s minus f of. So this is called as the initial condition. This is called as the initial condition. Okay, this is called as initial condition. But for all our further where f of 0 indicates the value of f of t at t equal to 0 minus 1. That is just before the instant t equal to 0. That means before t equal to 0, whatever comes, that is t equal to 0 raised to minus. Okay, so that doesn't exist. So initial condition is always neglected. So now if I take a blank slide and want to explain it to you, then see here, then I will explain. If f of t is a function in time domain, then f of s is the function in Laplace domain, then the Laplace transform of differentiation of dft by dt is equal to s into f of s, neglecting initial conditions. Okay, so similarly, Laplace transform of d square f of t by dt square is equal to s square into f of s. Laplace transform of d cube f of t by dt cube is equal to s cube f of s, and dash 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 Laplace transform of d raised to n f of t by dt raised to n is equal to s raised to n f of s. So for all these we are neglecting the initial conditions. This is the differentiation property of Laplace transform. This is the differentiation property of the Laplace transform, which you can see here. So Laplace transform of order of 1, 2, 3, etc. This property is most useful. See here, this property is most useful as transform differential time domain equations to simple algebraic equations along with initial conditions, if any. Okay, so now coming to the next property, real integration. Just like differentiation, see here, real integration. In this property also, if f is a function in time domain and f of s is a function in frequency domain, then Laplace transform of integration of f of t dt is equal to f of s divided by s. In this differentiation we had s into f of s, now it is f of s divided by s. Similarly, Laplace transform of many integration 0 to t1, 0 to t2, dash 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 0 to tn is of f of t dt1 dt2 dash 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 is equal to f of s divided by s raised to n. So this is also a very important property, that is real integration. So already the video is of 30 minutes. So I will stop the video here. I will stop the video lecture here. The remaining properties I will record in the next video, because it is more than 30 minutes, a problem to upload and problem to view. So I will upload in the, I think the properties which we are dealing in Laplace transform are clear to you. I will thoroughly explain you Laplace transform and then only go to mathematical modeling. Any doubts are there, any clarifications are there, once I upload the video, you go through it, any doubts, any clarifications, you can clearly ask me, and then we can repeat them in the online class. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.